Imagine taking the most awkward suburban white woman you've ever met and dropping her into Miami's jail general population. That's my story, and it's a cautionary tale. So let's get into it. This is part 2 of my story. If you want part 1, go to my channel, and I talk about booking, turning myself in, I had to take an Uber to jail, and being in solitary confinement. So solitary confinement, like I said, very, very horrible. They barely want to give you a shower. I remember one lady, I was trying to get her attention all morning, like, can I take a shower? Can I take a shower? And then when her and the other guard came around and they're like, oh, you said you didn't want to take a shower. What? I've been begging to take a shower, but you can't argue with them, you know, and some of them just clearly don't like you, and they are mean. So that's something you have to deal with. But disturbing things in there, people just scream and bang on the door all day long, but it sounds like they're possessed. So they're screaming from just a really horrible, you have to hear it, it sounds horrible, and they're screaming and banging so hard it like shakes your door. I was getting claustrophobic, like feeling like I was getting like suffocated or something almost, and I did freak out once and started screaming myself, and I was just like, where did that even come from? So I knew I had to keep it together, because the longer you don't keep it together, the more you'll stay. And something that stuck out to me that's really been a disturbing memory for me, I remember one day I'd taken us out for an hour to sit on this empty rec yard, and there were so many like out of it women, and I remember one open, I told you, like, we don't have undergarments, I'm sorry to be graphic, but there was a dead roach right by her, and her like gown was coming off. It was so disturbing, and I couldn't believe I had found myself there. But I finally got out of that, and I thought when I would go to general population they would just give you underwear and bra, but no, they didn't. And I was lucky enough to get commissary. My family said they would, you know, help me if I turned myself in, but you have to wait for your order to come in. So I had to go like 2 weeks without a bra and underwear, and it was really dehumanizing feeling, because I kept having to ask people, like, trying, because you feel exposed, especially if you're like a bigger, you know, woman on top. You can kind of see through the shirts, you feel exposed, and it doesn't feel good. And I remember getting walked to the clinic by a male guard, and I had told him, like, hey, could you help me? I don't have any undergarments. And he was like, oh, you don't have any? And I was like, yeah. And it felt kind of awkward, so I was like, I'm really cold, you know, like just trying to make a conversation casual. And he was like, oh, you're cold? Well, you fill in the blank. Okay, I'm not gonna say what he said, but it was inappropriate. But he did give me a bra and underwear, but it just was just weird feeling. But you can't report anything like that, because you'll not be taken seriously, and all the guards stick together. So it's better you don't say anything. And if you see something, like, it's better you not say anything, even if you feel it's fun, because you will be a snitch then, and that is the worst thing you can be. So they took me to general population. When I went in there, this old lady, her name was Miss Helen, she was like, hey, did you eat your dinner from solitary? And I was like, yeah, I did. You can have this tray, because they gave me another tray. And she was really happy about that. Food means so much to people there. Like, people go crazy about bologna sandwiches. Like, don't play with people and their food. They get so serious about it. But I gave her that tray, and then we kind of started sitting together, you know, during dinner and stuff, because I didn't really eat a lot of the stuff that they gave, just because it was so nasty to me. I ate some stuff I had to, you know, I was hungry, and you can't only eat commissary. I wasn't getting that much commissary, so but I would give her, you know, my stuff, and I would give her some of my commissary too, because if she saw someone like disrespecting me or like trying to beg me for stuff, she would just put a stop to it. So, you know, and she didn't have commissary, and she's an old lady, you know, she's an old OG, so I felt like, you know, she's cool, and I didn't mind. But I did get robbed a few times, because my room was up in the corner. They put me with a schizophrenic woman that was also white. We were the only 2 white people in that pod, and she had really bad schizophrenia. She told me she had implants that were made out of peanut butter, and that they burst open on the bus. She would tell me all kinds of crazy stories, but she wasn't very good for watching my commissary, so I got robbed a couple times. I literally caught this girl. She had like really matted hair, and then she was bald, and I literally caught her walking in my room, and you have no reason to go in someone's room in there unless you're gonna rob them or do something nefarious. So I was like, what the fuck are you doing in my room? And she tried to say, like, I'm trying to get you for meds, but that's nothing that she would do. So, you know, there's nothing I could really do about that, because they did it when I wasn't there, and you know, that's just what happens sometimes. But they ended up moving me to another general population, and it sucked worse, because I didn't have like my friend there, and they didn't have books in that general population. But it was really boring most of the time, and like, it's not segregated, but it kind of is. Like, all of the Latino people, will sit together, and you know, normally the black ladies sit together, but the white women that are there, there are some, no, I will not say I saw really any normal ones. They're all like really, really homeless, or like severely, just, you know, they weren't normal, you know. So it wasn't like I really had like people that I could hang out with, but I don't think I would anyway. I did have one girl that was in my cell one time. She was really cool. Her name was Nicole, and we would just talk all the time. She would give me books, and I remember we were sitting with like a group of her friends, and this girl was saying a story about how she was doing something in her hospital room after she had her baby, and the baby got taken away. And then it was a horrible story, but then she said to my bunkie, like, oh, am I special? That's what she said. Like, I don't know why she said that, but my friend, yeah, she said that you seemed like you were special, and I told her, like, she's one of the most smartest girls I've met here. So that made me feel good that she kind of stood up for me. But yeah, it kind of hurt that someone thought that I was special, but then I look at the person that was saying it and the nasty story she was talking about, so I don't really care what she thought. But it was mostly just really boring in there. I'm not having a lot of interaction with people. I stayed in my cell a lot. Nobody tried to fight me or anything. People would try to like beg me for my medicine sometimes. They would snort coffee or Tums or anything they could get their hands on. It was weird. I couldn't believe they were stealing or snorting coffee. But yeah, that's my story. So thanks for listening.